Alyssa is an Abington grad, right?
84, baby.
So she is highly invested in making sure that this works for us. So whatever you want to ask her, and I feel like we can't offend you because I feel like I've asked you some pretty rough questions. So whatever you need, please ask. And if after this we do have more professional development that we can get, that we've signed up for, that we just haven't done yet. So anything at all afterwards, feel free to shoot me an email if there's specific things you would like to learn that you haven't learned yet. Because I know we did training at the beginning of the year, but it was the same day as a tornado. And so I don't know that it all quite sunk in, and that's okay. And so we can help you out as much as you like. I didn't want to push it too hard at the beginning of the year, but now that we're kind of a couple of months in, hopefully we'll be able to see people using this program. So that's all I have to say. Thank you all. And I don't know, Alyssa, if you want to share a little bit and then answer questions, or the best way to do this.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. And hi, Jim. I think we were former neighbors.
Were we?
Yeah, on Winter Way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Jack's mom.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Wow.
Yeah. I don't think you and I mean, I know your wife like way better because of the kids and everything.
Yeah.
But,
oh my God. That's so funny.
But yeah. So, so I know IXL is, just to you guys, it's just another platform. To me, it's, a prized possession. So I want you guys to really feel comfortable with using it to support all your students, because it's really a great resource and it's really super easy to use once you get, acclimated and comfortable with it. And again, you don't really have any specific parameters as far as like how to use it and what you need to do on the weekly, daily basis, but which is really nice. And that's sort of how IXL is. It's a grassroots kind of resource that fits to your learning style, your teaching style, to your students' learning style. So you can use it as much or as little as you so choose, but it really does provide really, really, really good support for all students at all levels. So you have access, even though you might have students, 9th, 10th, 11th, wherever you are teaching, you have access to the whole platform. So if you need to plug in skills below or above grade level, you have the freedom to move, around skills. And you also, IXL is an adaptive platform, which I know you probably realize, and it will start figuring your students out as they start working, within a skill or in the diagnostic. And I don't know if you've been using it, or maybe we can hear from people how you've been using it. Like, have you just been assigning skills? I see, I can pop into your usage. I see that people have been using the diagnostic. I know that Laura turned that on as, for that snapshot for a little bit. So your students were going in. Do you have feedback from students? Like, are there things you want to look at first, or do you want me to just kind of give you a high level overview?
I've been getting some specific questions from the teachers regarding the diagnostic and the fact that when the window opened, their kids took the diagnostics, and some of them missed it because they were out of school, they weren't here, and then the window closed. And when the window opened back up for them to finish, things weren't there when they went back to get it. So I know that's one issue that I think Mindy had. You had that issue, and there were a couple of others kind of along the same lines. It's really the questions, I think, center around the diagnostic testing.
Okay. All right. So we're going to dig into the diagnostic then. I'm going to share my screen so you can see. So hi, Mindy.
Hi.
Your name came up a lot when I was talking to Laura. So I've been in your account a lot. No worries. No, that's good. So I'm going to share my screen. What you should know is data from the diagnostic is never gone. Okay, it's always there. But the thing about our diagnostic is it's real-time data. So I'm going to show you what I mean by the pinpointed diagnostic and then the range. Okay, so what you might think is lost is when students are moving in the diagnostic rather than having that pinpointed level.
No, but actually, yeah, Laura did send that, and that was a really clear explanation. The pinpoint, when there's a pinpoint, there's actually also on the left-hand side to the right of the student's name, like a circle with 3 little dots in it. And that's how I figured out that they were finished.
Yeah.
And I had, you know, like 126 students that had dots and then the circle with the 3 dots inside. And then when it restarted, now I have a lot of students with ranges, but they had originally had pinpoints.
That's because, have they been working on skills?
No,
They haven't worked on IXL at all?
not since the diagnostic, because I was waiting for all of them to finish it so that I could then have them start working. They've worked in math, but not since then, but not in English. But I don't think that that would affect it, right?
So is this the report you're talking about, the diagnostic overview?
Yes.
Okay, so what are you talking about with the 3
Okay,
dots?
so next to the name Dylan Barry. it
Oh,
has-
the starburst?
Yeah.
Alyssa, is that math though?
Yeah, this is math, but ELA looks the same. We can go into ELA too. Just takes like a couple minutes to populate. Okay, so you're saying that only a few people have the starburst now?
Yes.
Okay, so which means when you have a starburst, you see that those are pinpointed levels, meaning that they are up to date in the diagnostic. Okay, so you're saying those pinpointed levels are gone.
Yeah, for most of them, yes.
Okay, now on this report, that starburst just represents the overall reading and the overall ELA levels. But if you go into the diagnostic action plan, you might have a mix of pinpointed and unpinpointed.
What do you even mean, excuse me, by up to date? I mean,
I'm using either up to date or pinpointed mean the same thing. So up to date and pinpointed means an exact level. So you see there's a range here, 630 to 690. That's a range. If it's up to date, it's pinpointed on an exact number like a 550. So if I say up to date or pinpointed, I'm meaning the same thing, that it's actually, yeah.
For the math teachers, I personally have never looked at any of this. Is there a way you can start, okay, from the beginning, here's where it is, here's where it goes? When you say the word pinpoint, I don't know.
All right, so that's good. So we're gonna go, we'll look from a student view, so you wanna see what the diagnostic looks like from the student view? Would that be helpful?
I think math.
I think he wants you to show him how you got to this page right here.
And most of the math teachers have done nothing except assign this test. So that's the only thing you know is how to give a test to a child.
Okay, so
English, some of us haven't done much and some have experimented just a little bit. So we're pretty basic.
All right, so in IXL, this green banner here is super important to just kind of familiarize yourself with. Anything under learning has to do with the curriculum. This diagnostic is going to bring you into your students' diagnostic and information about the diagnostic. But what we're in right now is analytics, and that's data, anything data related about your students. So that's where we are right now. That's why this little tab, this little caret is pointing. So I've clicked on analytics, and anything here is a report. Okay, so anything under analytics right here is a report, and we're looking into diagnostic reports right now. So that's where we are, because we're looking at diagnostic data. So anything related to the actual diagnostic assessment, which is either the snapshot diagnostic or the real-time diagnostic, same thing, that's going to be found under here in either diagnostic overview or diagnostic strand analysis. Those are the 2 reports that we have for the diagnostic. So after your students take the assessment, and that takes about 45 minutes per content area. So if your students, and they don't have to sit for 45 minutes straight, they go in for 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, back and forth. But in total, it should take them about 45 minutes for ELA and for math. You will have, did someone say something? Okay. You will have at the end of that 45-minute period or of time, whether it's, you know, over a week or they do it in one day, you will have this starburst, and the kids will be alerted when they're finished. It will tell them you've completed your diagnostic, and you will see on your diagnostic overview report, this is all my students, and you'll have a level. So like a 460, the first number represents the grade level. So 4 represents 4th grade. And the second number is either like 60% or 6 months of 4th grade curriculum. So this student still is working in the diagnostic. They don't have that starburst yet. So they're still working. So my cat is stuck in here if you hear meowing. The real-time diagnostic is like it sounds, it gives you real-time data. So this is real-time from today. This is where my students are. So that's great information because students are always moving on this continuum. So if they have, like Mindy was saying, her students all had pinpointed levels at the end of this, because this diagnostic can also be used as a snapshot, as a benchmark assessment. But if you're using it as a real-time diagnostic, students should always be pinpoint moving, pinpoint moving, pinpoint moving. They should always be moving across this continuum. So the cool part is if I went into this student, Cameron, who has pinpointed levels, that means their diagnostic is up to date today. If I went to the end here to this diagnostic action plan, that's going to give me, my student, anyone who works with this student, an active, like personalized plan for targeted skills that are going to help this student be moving. So here's from today, November 24th, Cameron's plan. These are Cameron's overall reading and language arts levels. And then it breaks it down by strand. So here's the reading strategies for 80. So that's 4th grade, 80%. And these are all skills that Cameron needs to work on for Cameron's growth. So Cameron can click right here and it's an interactive plan. So this is great for, and like I said, this is changing all the time. As the student goes in and works on these skills or goes back into the diagnostic, these targeted recommended skills are going to be changing and evolving as the year goes on. So this is where you can get that really, really targeted practice for every student without you really doing anything. It's here for them. So this is the overall reading level. You can see vocab, this student excels, is at a 740, but still has work to do, right? 760 in writing. I think this is a 5th grade student, 640 in grammar. So this is like an action plan of attack for this particular student. The same, it looks the same for math. So if we went in, you know, if we looked at it from, and the cool thing also is you get this diagnostic overview, which is nice. You also get a diagnostic strand analysis, which actually breaks your students into groups depending on strand. So this is going to break them in math right now. So we know that students, you know, who are, you know, in math, like they might have strengths and weaknesses in different strands, right? So for numbers and operations, these are my working groups. And it gives me the student names, their levels, and it breaks them into like, you know, groups according to levels. So this is if you wanted to have students working together, if you wanted to pull students to remediate or enrich. these groups are here for you by Strand, and that's across the board for language arts and math. So it's nice because you can keep those strands and those groupings fluid based on what the students need.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Two questions, actually. First of all, among my students are my study hall students too.
Wait, can you say that again, Maureen?
Among my students are study hall students too.
Yeah.
So we rostered the kids using Skyward, so I can look into if it's possible for us to fix that. So you're seeing all your study hall kids. That's interesting.
There's the option to choose class at the top of the over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can manage your group
by class.
Okay, by class. And then my other question is, I knew next to nothing about this, just a little bit from that original overview, and I gave the diagnostic, and some students got the regular 10th grade diagnostic test, and then there were some who got like a second grade test. So why did that happen?
Well, they didn't get a second grade test. Two things may have happened. One, they very well may have holes in their learning. I don't know that a 10th grader would have a second grade need, but on the diagnostic, which I'm going to show you, when a student takes the diagnostic, they have the ability to choose, I don't know this yet, so I'm going to just log into it. This is just a demo account for a student. Mm-hmm. But when a student is in the diagnostic, they can choose. So this is how a student gets in. So they step into the arena. It's pretty easy. So they have a choice of 2 questions. So when I go in, if I'm a kid and I don't feel like working on this, I can choose I don't know this yet. So the more I choose I don't know this yet, IXL is going to think I really don't know this yet. So A, I might not know this yet, or B, I might just not feel like knowing this yet. So IXL is going to take me down until I do know it. And then, it might be embarrassingly low for me. And at that point, once I start working again and start getting them right, IXL is going to, is going to bring me back to my, I'll get back up to where I am, but that'll be up to the, for the student to, deal with, or for you to say, hey, I saw you had some second grade skills, like, come on, go back in the diagnostic and continue the assessment. They'll learn not to do that. That's with IXL, you have this open architecture, so students will be able to move freely. You have to do some, sometimes some kind of intervention with that.
Okay, because it might have happened with one, but one in particular is very, very earnest.
Okay.
So she's not the type to do that. She's very earnest.
Could she maybe have could she have true gaps in her learning?
Yeah,
this
gaps.
Will identify, this will get to the bottom of things. And if that continues and she is someone who needs to fill in some gaps from way back when, you can disable grade levels so that she doesn't see what grade level she's working on if she really needs to, remediate. Because, if that's the case, that's what IXL is here for, If she really does need to work on that, she can work on that and she'll never know.
So Alyssa, the girl in question is actually, she's an honors student, and it was asking her questions about moo cows and like things like that. And it was kind of
demoralizing.
It was strange. It was almost like she got a different test than everybody else in the class. And it was from the beginning. So that it was like the first question on the diagnostic.
I was wondering if they clicked the wrong thing, and I just didn't know. Most of the students were fine, but there were just a couple.
Do they all get the same diagnostic at
No.
the grade level though? I mean, if you're,
Well, whatever grade level she's rostered in is the grade level she will start in. So
Yeah.
she's was improperly rostered, but you guys, again, it's through your Skyward. So she should be in, you know,
yeah.
with, that should be,
I can follow up, Alyssa, with our IT department to see if something was wrong with the roster.
Yeah.
Because quite honestly, I'm also not certain why they're getting study hall kids, because I told them only to pull certain course codes. So I'll
interesting.
check on our end to see if that's an IT issue.
And with
while
that
you're-
student, we can also, like, if it's really a problem, we can restart her like, you can give me her info, her name and her, you know, who it is, and we can on our end restart the diagnostic for her, and she can get it, you know, bring it, we can totally bring it back to zero, you know, bring it back to starting point.
Question?
Yeah.
Thank-
Can I? Oh, sorry, one second, Mike, because there was another question that came in from the chat. Alyssa, while you're in the student area, can you show where students would sign that skill plan that you showed the teachers? So you showed how teachers would find the skill plan, but can you, because you're in as a student right now, so if they went back to the diagnostic area, I don't know if this demo student has finished the diagnostic.
Oh, where
Or
they
not.
see their action plan, you mean?
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
show where the student would see that?
Okay, so
Thank
the
you.
cool thing, this is my action plan as the student. Like, so I'm still working on my diagnostic, which is why I have these ranges and I haven't pinpointed anything yet, because this is just like a demo account that I, you know, play around in. But if I wanted to go to my action plan, it's right at the bottom here. Do you see? And if I click on that, it'll bring me to my printable report. It's called the Diagnostic Action Plan. And I'm going to let my cat out of here because and here it is. So I'm still working. So you see this, so I have a look at that wide range for fractions, 380 and 580. It says keep diagnosing to receive skill recommendations. Here I have another wide range, but I have one skill recommended. So that's why, like, if your range is too wide and you're working, you have to narrow down to get, you know, specific skills. But again, like, I can just work right from here. And as a student, you also have access to other reports. So this is a student report. So if I click on analytics as a student, I can also see my usage. I can see my trouble spots. That's when I get 3 or more wrong in a skill on one level of rigor. So within any math skill on IXL, you could have up to 12 levels of rigor. So we identify a trouble spot is if you get 3 or more wrong within that level. So if I have lots of trouble spots, I have this great trouble spots report that this again is a demo account. Your students have a lot more trouble spots. I can also see my score grid. I can see my questions log, and I can also see my progress and growth. So as a student, I have access to these reports on my own, you know, to see my own progress and growth. Yeah, Mike.
And so is it possible for us to get an account? This may be more for Laura, where I can sign in as a student, then I can see what my students are actually seeing. Is that feasible?
Well, because you guys, again, you're auto rostered like through Skyward, you can only see like if you logged in as one of your students. Like, I could give you a trial account where you set up your own, but it wouldn't be your own students.
So I could log in as one of my students. I just want to see what they're doing. So when they ask me questions, I kind of understand what they're seeing ahead of time.
Oh, you can see every little thing that your students are doing on IXL. You can, not only can you see everything they're doing, but you have a live classroom that when they're on at their seats working in IXL, you can see every single thing they're doing, every question they're answering, what they're getting right, what they're getting wrong, how many minutes. I mean, you have a bird's eye view into everything they're doing in IXL at any given time. I mean, I can show you some of those reports because you have like incredible access into their learning, which is great because you can really use that to inform what you're doing on the day, day to day. Do you want to look at some of those? Yeah. Okay. So again, under analytics, that's where all your reports are going to be. Okay. So the first report that I think is really helpful is under students. You have, and just note that all of our reports are filterable. So you can filter them for like a week, a day, or whatever. So let's just look at students quick view. And even if you did this along, like on your account, you could actually see. So this is a demo account. Okay. So this, and everything's like printable. Some of them are downloadable to like a CSV file. So my students in the last 30 days, you could filter by a day, a week. So if you've assigned skills and you want to know, have my students completed those skills? How did they do on those skills? So this is just a nice overview, right? So this is all my students. So if I scroll down, I can see exactly what my students have done. I can see how many questions they've answered. I can see how many minutes they've spent, and I can look at their progress or lack of in different skills. Now, when I assign skills on IXL, I don't know if, have you been assigning skills on IXL? No. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do that so that you can make sure, like if I'm assigning adding and subtracting mixed numbers with like denominators, and all of my students are doing great on that particular skill, I don't have to keep it starred anymore. My kids are doing fine. Like I can unstar it and move on to something else. So this is just a great overall. I can sort by name too. I mean, I can go in by student and I can just look at it student by student too. So I can really see by student exactly what they've done. So I can see right here, every single day that they've worked in IXL, what they've done, which questions they've worked on, how much time they've spent, what time they were on IXL. So I can look, and everything here is like, if I can expand, and I can look at their questions, right? This is what they've done. I can view all 15 of their questions. This is another report called the questions log. So this is for Dorian. This is just for one particular student on adding and subtracting mixed numbers, because like I'm focused on this right now. I can see everything Dorian's done on this particular skill. I can show missed questions only, and I can look for like patterns and trends, see what, how Dorian's doing, if he's struggling. So you've got tons of reports here that give you really, high level to very granular data on how they're doing. So the nice thing is a lot of our reports, they drill down from one to the other. And everything is like hoverable. So I can actually look at skills here too. So I can search by skills. Now I'm not gonna have a lot of data here because this is just a demo. But if you search by skills here, you can look at, so if I know I just taught a particular skill, I want to see how my kids are doing with their questions. I can look at by student. So I can, filter by by content area. If I know they're working on a particular grade level, I can filter it by grade level. So you can really look, again, be very specific, or look, from a high level overview of your class. And then for, if you want to just look at like SMART scores, because they get a SMART score, 80 is proficient, 100 is mastery. So if you do have like those honors classes and you're expecting mastery, you can look at a score grid report, which is sort of looks like a report card in a way. And you can filter this by practice skills. You can actually filter this by like the PA core standards. So I can just put standards on and it's going to give me the core standards. I can do this for ELA too. I don't know if so these are their SMART scores. I can hover over and see exactly what they've done, what their scores were, how many minutes, what their level of proficiency is. These are the core standards. These are the skills that fall under those standards. And this is all like I can upload this to to an Excel spreadsheet. So you can get like really, really, really specific as to what your students are doing on IXL. Again, this is a lot. And so that's why just like going on and just with your kids, like if you do assign a skill. So if I'm a math teacher and I'm in, I don't know, what are we, like Al1?
These are high school groups, so maybe pick like Algebra 2.
Okay, Algebra 2. I'm not very good in my Algebra 2, but here we go. So if I'm an Al2 teacher, right? So here's all my skills by grade. Well, this is all by grade level, and these are my skills. So just to assign a skill, I basically hover over the star. And this is where, like Maureen, you might have to set up like a class. Like I have a 5th grade class, a 6th grade class, an Al1 class. Very easy to do. You just grab students from your homeroom, or these are not kids in your homeroom that you work with.
I copied the link and
Oh,
posted
you assigned it that way?
to my Google Classroom, which I think is the easiest way to do it. I assigned it to the classes I wanted.
Okay.
Can you show people how to do that? That's really easy.
So this is one way to assign skills, which is just clicking the star. You can assign it to all students, or if individual students need the practice, you can assign it, you can be very intentional about who gets that. But if I'm in a skill, I can also share that skill. I can copy the link, or I can just go to Google Classroom and it shares to my class that way. So you have multiple.
That's a really good way to do it for everybody who's watching.
So this is what the skills look like. Typically you always have this learn with an example at the beginning of a skill, which is sort of like a reteach of what you've just done. So before students get started, they have a little reminder of what the key idea is, what this group of questions is going to be about. And then within skills, you also have these foundational skills that came before. So in order for me to be able to solve for G and to know how to do this, these are skills that were foundational. So I have these to fall back on as well. So I always have this. And then this is something brand new. I don't even know if we want to go there. Do we, Laura?
I think Janine would love you to go there. I don't know if I see her on there. So I think you can just mention it. Yeah,
so this is brand new. It's called group jams. So after you've taught a skill, and typically you just assign the skill and the students go work independently. So this allows you to now kind of extend your whole group lesson to maybe students that you think might need an extra small group work with you, an extension of what you've just done. They're not quite ready to be independent, or you just taught it, they're not ready to be independent, but you want to do an extension with the whole class. So you can start a group jam with all of your students, or you can choose classes, depending on who you're working with. And what that does is it puts a little notification on the student's device, and it invites them to work on the same problem with you. So this came from teachers who asked us, to add this extension. So now everyone's going to have this problem in front of them, and we can extend the learning rather than like me putting it up on the board. Now everyone will have it on their device. They submit their question and I see who got it right, who got it wrong, who needs more support. And then we move to, I press, once everyone's given me their question, I move to review and we go through it together, right? And then we can work again on the same level. If it was like iffy, I can choose something harder so that we can move on. And then once I know that kids are totally ready, I can end the group jam, or I can remove students or add students if if there are those who are ready to go, or if more students, I notice in the corner, they don't know what to do. So it's just a great way just to kind of connect IXL to more of the classroom, learning. And that's brand new. It's called Group Jam. And then you just press End Jam when you're done, everybody's ready, and then everyone kind of goes and works on their own in that skill. Once you press End Jam, everyone will be working.
So I have a quick question about that. Does
Yeah.
this count as their time on task in the program? Or is it separate? How you're trying to get them to get to 45 minutes. Does this count?
Oh, the 45 minutes, that's in the diagnostic.
So it's separate. Okay.
Yeah,
That's what we just
yeah.
want to make sure. That's fine. Yeah, we, a couple of the reading teachers have used this and they think it's great.
The Group Jams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun because I know when I used to use IXL in the classroom, it was daunting, and it wasn't as engaging for students to have to look up at the smart board to interact. It would have been nice to just have this and have, kids submit it. And it's anonymous too. Nobody knows, who's getting it right, who's getting it wrong. So only I know,
Alyssa, just to piggyback on what Janine just asked, I think not the diagnostic. I know you said the diagnostic takes 45 minutes, but what is the time that students should be working per week to keep their learning path going? Because I think that's what she was asking, whether that
okay.
or that to keep the path moving.
Okay, so once you diagnose, once you get those pinpoints, to keep those pinpointed or your diagnostic, levels accurate and on point with the most targeted skills, you really only have to work in the diagnostic 10 minutes a week.
Okay.
So you can either be working on that diagnostic. So what your diagnostic time could look like is I pinpoint my levels, I work on some targeted skills, and then I pop back the next week in the diagnostic for 5 to 10 minutes.
And that's where you enter the arena? Is that?
Yeah, that's where you
okay.
step into the arena.
Okay.
And you as a teacher, if you see, I'm clicking on diagnostic here. If you click on diagnostic, you can actually star this, keep your real-time diagnostic up to date, and it will be assigned to students so that they have that in there. When students log in, they land on this. This is where they land. It's called their recommendations wall. And right here is their suggestions. That's where any skills that you've starred, that's where they are. They're in this upper right-hand corner. And that first star, if you've started for the diagnostic, is going to be right here. So all I have to do is keep my real-time diagnostic up to date. I click on that and it takes me right to the arena and I step into the arena. This is my demo account, so it's not working that way, but it would say step into the arena right here if I was in my student account.
Okay.
I go back to my question because I know we only have a few minutes left and I can't start using this. So, and it just reminded me when I first went in, before I told anyone about it, I actually saw that it had almost all, except for the students that had to make it up and made it up. It had all of them in that section where it said, encourage these students to enter the arena. And then I told Jim and Jim told Laura. And then when I went back in, they weren't in that section, please have them enter the arena anymore, but rather they had ranges again, but still didn't have pinpoints. And
can we go into your account?
Yes, please.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to go in because that's the only way I can.
Should I log out of mine or?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because I know we did go in, I've spent some time in there. Let's see, IXL. Okay, I'll share my screen. Now you can see the expert in action here. All right. So you were in your analytics and you went to your diagnostic overview.
Yep.
Oh, your
Yeah,
language arts,
language
right?
arts.
Or,
Mhm.
okay, so let's go to language arts. Okay,
And can we just go to a specific class just so that
yeah,
there aren't study hall? And we could go to the first honors one. That's good. Actually, the second honors, well, it doesn't matter, but these guys are all had finished. The second
These?
one
okay,
isn't all finished, but I mean, they had though, like the ones that are in there, they had all finished. They had pinpoints, they had starbursts. And like, I know I sound like, oh, maybe she didn't know what she was doing, but I went through each one multiple times because then I had to go to each student that hadn't finished it. And I had to ask them, 3 days in a row, did you do it yet? Did you do it yet? Threaten to take off some points so that they could do it. So I know that they absolutely did have them, but now I'm just concerned because they don't have they don't have, if I want to assign them the plan, they don't have, skills in the plan to do because it doesn't show the pinpoint.
but they do have skills, let me see.
They have some skills, but in some areas they don't because of that.
Did you go to their individual plans? So let's.
Yeah, I went to Sebastian Batero's and Renisha Lee's.
But does it have anything to do with time? Like, so I think Mindy gave it a little bit ago.
Yeah, maybe.
So now that it's been like her kids haven't worked for a couple weeks, no, it doesn't. Okay. I don't know.
It wouldn't stretch, it wouldn't like go that. The other thing is I
So-
want to look, why is it
She had
not?
them working when there was a snapshot going on. So does that?
No, but I want to, did you capture their snapshot? Because we do have their snapshot data. Okay, well, they do have, I mean, there is data, there is,
That one does. Some of them don't, some of them do.
Okay.
Have some skills to work on. I mean, so they could, but it's just, I just want to, it's just I don't want it to happen again. And
Yeah.
okay, like, but then they should essentially finish it again anyway, so that we have completely accurate information, I guess. But I don't want them to do it again and then have it happen again.
yeah, I want to look at, so this is Nina. I want to look at view other action plans. So this was her snapshot, the first snapshot.
Okay.
Let's see what this report, did you ever look at that?
I didn't look at the report of every one. I looked at some of the reports for the snapshot. So I don't know if I looked at hers or not. Oh, so see there, she does have.
Yeah,
So
Well, that window ended October 29th. So
yeah, this
does
was
that-
her
so-
snapshot diagnostic. That ended, yeah, that was,
right. And then she didn't do anything since then. In ELA. She has not worked in ELA since then.
So does she need to take a new diagnostic, I think is the question.
Yeah, does
Does
she?
she have to take it all over again?
well, yeah, you do
She's-
have to pop in 5 or 10 minutes a week to keep the pinpointed.
Okay.
Okay, so have them finish up or redo or whatever the diagnostic
but
and then
is
10
she-
minutes a week.
Did she move to the right front? Like,
From the diagnostic to
yeah, like
now?
she was at like 10:40. I don't have
Hold
her,
on, I have it open. I'll just go to her real quick and see.
like what's her reading strategies now? Like the range.
1,000 to 1090.
Oh, okay.
But she still has one recommended skill. 2, 1, and 3. I mean, yeah. And vocabulary was 820 to 920. Writing strategies were 780 to 880. So
So
Yeah, I mean, I
Alyssa,
think-
the solution is for her to go in, well, all
Yeah.
of these kids to go in to the diagnostic
Yeah,
and work for 10, 15 minutes on it.
Mhm.
And then you should have an accurate,
on the diagnostic,
Yeah.
not the, okay.
like
yeah.
enter the arena. Right?
Right.
enter the arena for 10 to 15 minutes, and then
Yeah.
hopefully by then they'll have another pinpoint, and then just make sure I'm doing it 10 minutes a week so that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Perfect.
She'll
Great.
definitely have she'll definitely, her range will close quickly once she works, for 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
She shouldn't have to do more than, I think it's like 20 questions or something.
Okay.
And then once, if you're going to snapshot again, like, I don't know if you're planning on doing that again, I don't know. But if you are, this data will roll into that. So again, it won't take, when you do that next snapshot, it's not going to take 45 minutes.
But you don't have to
Never
snapshot
take
as long
45
as they're working consistently.
Yeah, no, you
If
don't
they're
have to
just
snapshot
consistent,
unless
just
you want to
update.
capture
Yeah.
every student on the same day, and get that benchmark assessment.
So essentially, I don't have to have them enter the arena again. I can just go to the star that you told us to go to. I can star their skills and have them start there, and that would be fine.
No, they have to go back into
They
the
do have to-
actual diagnostic.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in
So-
order to keep it, sorry, Alyssa, in order to keep it adaptive in nature, they have to go into the arena for those 10 minutes so that it can adapt to them. If we didn't want it to be adaptive, then you could just assign skills.
The skills
make sense?
the skills are a tiny, so the practice of the targeted recommended skills and also the skills you're assigning and working on, they're a very tiny percentage of the movement that the student and the growth that you'll see. But really what's going to move them, from range to pinpoint will be going back into the diagnostic.
So the diagnostic is what they have to do 10 minutes a week of,
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah.
additional, got it. And
Yeah.
so do they just go in there the same way, going
Yep.
into diagnostic, snapshot, et cetera?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you
Yep.
very much.
Cool. All right.
Other questions for Alyssa?
Are there?
I don't know.
The other thing is, I don't know if everyone knows about the recommendations wall.
Go for it.
Okay. So the recommendations wall, I kind of showed it to you. That's where the student lands when they log in to IXL. Wait, let me just get out of Mindy's because it's going to keep bringing me back to you guys. Okay, wait, I'm going to probably have to log in again. So when the student, another really good place for the student, like if you have, I don't know, time for the students to be, your students to be working independently on IXL, if you go in, when the student logs in, they land on what's called their recommendations wall. And those recommendations are it's going to be math and ELA, and they basically are skills that IXL has kind of put on there based on what they need to be working on. So it's going to be math and ELA. Although if you want to filter out just ELA because it's, because you're in ELA, you're in English class, you can actually just click on this book and it will filter out and just show you all the English stuff. But if you want to just show math, you can click on the pyramid and it'll show only math recommendations. So on here, there's like different flavors of questions too. There's like work it out, keep at it, next up. So these are all just like they sound. They're basically supporting students on skills that they need to be working on, providing them like a sneak peek of what's going to come next. So they can also, like, some schools will do like, next up Tuesday, like only work on your next up question. So if you click on the kind of question, it'll highlight the box and students can just look for those types of questions. So if you want to challenge them, the next up would be the like enrichment kind of questions. But the cool thing about this is it's always populating. So the student's never going to run out of questions on here. And you can also identify why this question is here. So like these questions are from the diagnostic area. This was from a skill identifying prepositional phrases. So it tells the student, like, why am I even practicing this? They know why. So that's what IXL is really superior at. It's letting students know what they need to know and what they need to practice and why. So it's not just like, do this, but it's, let's understand what it is I need to do and why I need to do it. And always the diagnostic is a reminder here. So I can always go to the diagnostic right from here as well by clicking try this, and it'll take me to the arena. So that's the recommendations wall. It's a great spot. And like I said, it's, you know, every student is unique. And I mean, I don't know if you guys also are aware that you have these amazing skill plans. We actually
Yes,
just
so our
added.
math teachers, Alyssa, didn't go through the training in the
Oh,
fall.
okay.
So they might not. And I mean, people are welcome to stay on. I don't want to, I know that some people may have
Okay.
other, and so if anybody, is that okay? I'm just going to
Oh,
pause
is
for a
it?
second.
Oh,
and
are we
say,
late? Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You're not late. You're fine. You're fine.
You know me, I can
But
just go on and on.
it's okay. I had originally told people about 45 minutes.
Oh, okay,
And so,
yeah.
unless anyone else feels differently as far as I am concerned, if anybody wants to stay on and ask Alyssa additional questions, they're more than welcome to, but I don't want anyone at this point to feel obligated they have to. But Alyssa, it probably would be helpful for our math teachers in particular if you would show them.
Okay.
Probably just standards. I feel like you kind of did this a second ago when you were showing them how to do
Yeah.
lessons, but unlike our elementary and middle school people, we don't have like a textbook aligned with IXL at the high school. So it's not, there's no like textbook, I think, that you would align to, but you could show them the standards skill plan or something like that.
Okay,
But
yeah.
if people want to sign
easy.
off, happy Thanksgiving and thank you to everyone who made time to be here, and hopefully this provided some clarity. And again, if you're confused on anything, please send me an email, because we do have some trainings that we've paid for that we can do, but also Alyssa is always very open to helping us out. So we can also have her back, I'm sure, if we needed to. So thank you all. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then Alyssa, if you want to show that, you can. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's just, you go to learning and you can access by grade level, by topic. We added these weekly plans, which are great. And then you have skill plans. If you just click on skill plans, you have right here the PA core standards for math. So if you went into any subject, you could, unlike for you guys, you just click on, whatever it is, AL2. You have the standard down the left, and then you have these IXL skills that were custom built to match those standards. So you can assign them right here by group, by student, however you want, just to make sure you're covering all these throughout the year. And you can pin these by just like shading this in yellow, and it'll keep it at the top of your skill plan page. And just, I know this is the very last thing for those math teachers, but we just added this, which we're super excited about, which is we just added Keystone L1 skill plans. So this is like super exciting. If you just go here, you've got your Keystone skills and you've got your IXL skills to support. So again, you can just go right here, you can hover over and you can assign skills right here, and it'll just show up in a star on the student page. And, getting ready for those tests, this is just great extra practice. And you can also just pin it at the top of your skill plan page. So it's there too.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
And Jim, this is in part for you too. So this all seems really great and helpful, and I'm excited to use it. I do know I feel this way, and I think some other teachers do too. It's hard enough for us to even keep up with like Google Classroom, posting on that, Skyward. Yeah. This is another thing that we have to keep up and maintain. So can you just like, simplify for me the basics in terms of like, I need to know I'm assigning X for this week and how do I check it so I know I'm going in and out. So I know who's completed it, who hasn't, like I'm confused about what's an assignment and what's them just keeping up with their 10 minutes week to week. And is it 7 days or is it 8 days? Like simplify it for me so
Yeah.
I can slowly get used to it. And then I hopefully will get better and better at utilizing it so it can support me rather than it's something I'm just kind of trying to keep up with.
Definitely, yeah. So it's like two parts, IXL. So you've got that diagnostic, and that diagnostic is, I'd call it like the independent piece, because that's where students, after they pinpoint, after they go in for that 45 minutes, they're working like I would set aside, if I were you, 10 minutes a week where the students just go in and they work on their diagnostic. So if you want to choose a particular day of the week, or I don't know how people do that, but if you want to have a specific, set time, 15 minutes, let's say, go in your diagnostic. So that means they go into that diagnostic arena, they update their levels until they're pinpointed, and then they work on some of those targeted skills, that diagnostic action plan, right? That's not, you don't have to do anything for that.
Okay. And they can do just 10 minutes and they should get to that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that. And then the other part is what I was just showing you with the curriculum, with the skills. So
Can I measure that they did their 10 minutes? Well, how do I know?
Yeah, it shows you how long they were on.
Their little.
You'll see, because you'll go into their diagnostic overview, right? You'll go in here and just at a glance, you'll have your whole class or your ELA, right?
Yeah.
So you'll have all your students and you'll see. And to be honest, it's great if everyone's pinpointed. If they're not pinpointed, it's not the end of the world. Like if they have a little range, it's okay. I mean, you're still going to have really good practice for them. It's, it's important, and it's the more exact you are, the more targeted skills you're going to have. But then they're going to have to work on those skills. So the more narrow, like the narrower you can get it, the better. But if it's not exact, it doesn't have to be, right? It's so don't sweat the small stuff in that way. So this is all like the student has access to this. So they go into the diagnostic for 10 minutes, update their levels, and then they can work on their action plan. And that's the interactive piece, right? They go to that PDF, they click on it, and they go back and forth. And then, so that's the diagnostic piece of things. And then the other is, you're going into, you're using IXL to support your teaching. So that's where you're, doing are you language arts? Yeah. So you're going into whatever you're doing, right? Whatever you're teaching, and you're teaching a lesson, and you're assigning the skill just like you've been doing,
right,
to support what you're doing. And then if you want to check up on your students, again, if you're worried about a student, like if you go into your analytics reports and you want to really just get a quick view, which was that first thing we looked at, that first report we looked at, which was sort of like a high level overview. What have my students been doing? How are they doing? Now, you see this little red arrow that's going in the wrong direction?
Yeah.
That's a red flag, right? So summer multiplication and division with exponents, like with exponents, that might be a red flag for me. Like I'm going to want to dig in. And do you see if I hover over it, it says click to view questions log. you would want to maybe dig in a little bit further on a particular student if they're going in the wrong direction. But everybody else, they seem to be like, they're doing their assignments. If someone spends like 1 minute and they were supposed to be doing that for 15, or that was their homework, then that's up to you, like, to decide, you know, but this is your high level overview. And then if you want to get into, like, because you noticed some things on here, that's when you can start digging into trouble spots, you know, score grid, questions log, and things like that.
Okay, great.
You'll get used to it more as you go along. And I don't know if you're using it for homework and stuff. Like, we have schools who use IXL for homework, like, and the kids are like, yeah, I did my IXL. And then when I go on, it's like, no, you didn't. You did it for 0.5 minutes. Like, no, you didn't, you know? So that's when you're really holding them accountable. Like, you see everything the student does on IXL very clearly. So there's no way around it.
Okay, that's helpful. Thanks.
Okay, good. Any other? And you can always email me directly. I can put my number. I'm here. I'm giving my number out to people. That's just, so you can email me directly. I don't mind. And never email like the help desk, get IXL, like, that's a disaster.